Okay, continuing, a little interruption. He said, in fear, the devotees headed by Parananda held it with his strong arms, as they thought he would fall into the thorny bushes. He said, look, Lord Krishna is performing pastimes everywhere. At each tree, I see the whole world being made of Krishna. The unlimited pure earth filled with water, without mud, constantly shone. At that time, the Lord traveled at an astonishing pace. By the traveling of the Lord, the present autumn season, smiling with blossoming kasa flowers, became especially beautiful. Arriving at Bhubaneswar, the Lord saw the deity of Shiva, and after taking Mahaprasadam, took rest. The next day, at the end of the night, Mahaprabhu departed with the devotees, and putting Haridas in front, entered the town. The lakes of autumn were the essence of beauty. With the rains, they became exceedingly fresh with water. There were many cranes at that time, and all creatures without body. The directions got strength. The trees and creepers blossomed. With a portion of the cool season, the time was ideal, and the directions were pleased. Ramananda Roy, with permission, had a house built previously and brought the Lord inside quickly. Seeing the house pure and anointed, the Ocean of Mercy, with great pleasure, stayed there with Paramananda Puri. From Puri, piles of Mahaprasadam with excellent rice, drinks, and sweets soon arrived in constant flow. The Devatas like Brahma and Shiva take his order on their heads and offer prayers. What person can know his powers? He has such inconceivable power. Seeing the Mahaprasadam, the Lord was very pleased and ate with prema. He spent the night speaking with Ramananda and the devotees. Absorbed in various topics of discussion with Ramananda, the Lord, beautiful as the moon, passed the night. Mahaprabhu and Paramananda went in front, and intelligent Ramananda followed behind. The Ocean of Mercy, going on the path, chanted the Lord's names with his sweet, shining lips. There was no conjunct consonants. Traveling in this way, he saw a pleasant place to stay on the bank of a river. Singing sweetly, beautiful with sweet lips, he spoke. Go ahead to Katak. I will go and see the deity of Gopinath later. When he said this, the devotees headed by Paramananda departed, and Gauranga stayed there to take rest with one devotee. Hearing the Ocean of Mercy was coming, Pratapa Rudra had the bathing spots cleansed by hand. Decorated in all his limbs, bright with sweet effulgence, Gopinath shone like the poetic ornaments of a poet. The beautiful king of every moment became more youthful with fresh longing and shone like the beautiful spring. The devotees, with pleased face, joyfully entered the temple of Gopinath. The servants of the deity, holding canes with great affection, brought the devotees who were devoid of other desires into the rooms. Seeing the deity with great prema, they were greatly pleased. One Brahmin came and offered food to Paramananda. At that time, Gaurachandra, shining like a million moons, dazzling like a golden mountain, arrived as if rising over the horizon. Seeing attractive Gopinath, like the personification of Cupid, the Ocean of Mercy became joyful. A Brahmin named Swapneshwara offered Mahaprabhu food and brought him into his house. Ramananda Roy brought the devotees headed by Jagadananda, all in bliss, to his house. He brought the devotees to an attractive garden, which gave benefit to the house, bliss and happiness. It was an excellent garden near the house, giving the continual joy of a forest. Making the devotees happy in the garden, Ramananda quickly went to the king, who gives happiness to the people. After resting, the devotees began cooking. Paramananda, after begging, came with the Lord. In that garden there was a very tall bakula tree, giving extensive dense shade. This was the best amongst the bakula trees. The tree was huge, bigger than all the other trees, and surrounded by lotuses, giving life to the forest. Sitting under the bakula tree, the Lord shone with his smiling face. He defeated the jambu tree with his golden form. At that time, the crest jewel of kings, most glorious Prachaparudra, came to see the lotus feet of Gaurachandra. Accompanied by Ramananda, he was like Cupid with spring. He eventually arrived with 4 parts of his army, elephants, horses, chariots, and foot soldiers. Alighting from the elephant's shoulder, Prachaparudra, endowed with the elephant shoulders, went to the garden with affection, shining radiantly. Surrounded by a wealth of soldiers, horses, and huge elephants, exuding Mada, he appeared splendid. The horses shook the earth with their hooves, proclaiming loudly, "There is not a king equal to him in Swarga or on earth." Like the moon with the sun, the king, holding the arm of Ramananda, went here and there, engaging his ministers. Like the earth surrounded by a ring of islands, he shone radiantly, being surrounded by ministers, like Devatas who first entered the garden. On the outside were foot soldiers, beyond that the horses, and beyond that the elephants. This was the arrangement of the whole array. Seeing the Lord's lotus feet, the king's heart melted. He fell to the earth with tears of joy in his eyes. Offering respects many times, the king drank with his eyes the lotus face of the Lord, but he could not be satisfied. This is the astonishing nature of Gauranga. Gaurachandra profusely sprinkled him with sweet words of affection while embracing him with every limb. Finishing his duties, and by the order of the Lord, he gave orders to his followers and pleased them. All the ministers then entered to see the Lord. The king ordered his good servant, knowing the mind of Gauranga. The Lord, beautiful as a lotus, desires to go across the Chitropala river to the ocean. O Mangaraj, quickly go to Harichandran across the great river, following Mahaprabhu. On his order, Mangaraj, Harichandan, and Ramananda Roy, taking Mahaprabhu, got in the large boat. At that time, the full moon rose up, cleaning the whole path with its rays. After Gauranga left, the king's servants came there. Understanding king's order, he spoke to the local people. "Oh, great people, hear what the king has ordered. Erect a pillar here so that this place becomes a place of pilgrimage." Hearing the king's order, the people erected a pillar there, having placed the Lord in a boat, and people worshipped him with joy. Crossing the river, the Lord came to Chaturdwara. At the night, he slept in the deity's outer hall, covered with an attractive canopy. There, even hundreds of thousands of people could not enter. Chapter 20. Hearing the birds chirping, "O Lord, night is ended. Rise from bed." With eyes closed from sleep, he woke up, and waving his hand to silence them, rose quickly. Seeing with joy the garland and food remnants which had suddenly arrived, he performed his daily rites. Eating rice, drinks, and sweets, and being satisfied, he departed. He dismissed the 2 officers, Mangaraja and Harichandan. They shed tears and their bodies became thin. What is the power of the Creator? The king sent orders through letters before the Lord arrived to the various places in order to make new pure houses with furnishings. Wherever the Lord went, hundreds of thousands of people worshipped him with their lotus eyes and humble words of joy, without creating many obstacles. He will come today or tomorrow. He is coming. He has arrived. There were loud shouts of joy in this manner before his arrival. Some of the elders said, "Where is Krishna Caitanya?" Mahaprabhu and Paramananda then showed each other to the people. When dawn came, acting according to the king's order, all the people in all houses, in all places, cleansed their houses, and in bliss brought auspicious items. Ramananda went as far as Bhadreshwara. The Lord dismissed him and he went back to Puri. Feeling pain and separation, Gauranga proceeded north. Through all of Orissa, the people acted according to the king's letter, and in the morning brought abundant items, including incense worthy of a king and deity remnants. Realizing that the Lord had reached Bengal and would come to the Ganga, the people were overcome with prema. Their hearts joyful, affectionate, become of impending contact with him. They increased in beauty, being pleased even in their houses. Like the moon rising on the eastern horizon, he came to Raghava's house. Joyful and full of prema, he was satisfied with the fragrances, garlands, incense, and gifts. He spent 5 or 6 days in his place, and with great joy affectionately sent Paramananda to Navadvip ahead of himself. After Paramananda left, Gaurachandra went to Shiva's house in Kumarahat and stayed there. Merciful to all beings, he showed compassion to all of them. Staying several days there, hundreds of thousands of people came, absorbed in great bliss. There was no fault in Mahaprabhu's glory. Some people stood on the road, some in their doors, some in trees, and some on walls. Like painted pictures on a wall, their longing had no end. In the night, alone and without being seen, he went by boat to another place, north of the town. He went to Vasudev's house, and then to Shivananda's house. Staying there one night, he begged to the north of the village, and then went to Shantipur with thousands of people by boat. Shivas, not seeing him, looked everywhere with a disturbed mind. He felt deep grief as long as he did not see him. Going by boat on the Ganga, with fickle heart, the Lord chanted the name. Coming to Advaita's village, the Lord, most anxious to meet Advaita, felt great prema. Advaita met him at the door and embraced him with bliss. The fortunate living entities could not be satisfied with seeing and hearing about this. Again and again they embraced, overjoyed by prema. Then Advaita worshipped him with worthy items and gracious words. Sachi Devi, mother of the 3 worlds, came and seeing him, felt herself drown in an ocean of bliss, while experiencing joy, sorrow, and shyness. Accepting services rendered with affection by Advaita, Gaurachandra, giving bliss to all eyes, spent 6 days in Shantipur and ate with satisfaction food given by his mother. On these days, at every hour, thousands of people came. Advaita in joy pleased all of them each day with various articles. One day, Gaurachandra went across the Ganga from Navadvip, and in a place to the west, spread bliss to all beings by his limbs. Mute, lame, blind, old, young, and women, all persons living in Navadvip came with great affection. As long as Gaurachandra remained there, thousands and thousands of people, both men and women, filled with intense longing, came from all places to see him. After some time, Gaurachandra became disturbed by all the people and disappeared. But their longing increased and they cried loudly. Out of affection, he stayed in the village 5 or 6 days, giving happiness to their eyes. They all returned to their own places. Seeing a place called Gopinath City, a place where Gopinath sleeps, Gaurachandra became overwhelmed with prema and rejoiced constantly. Desiring to go to the Jamuna, he went west and then turned around. Considering in his mind, he went to the Ganga. Staying in that place for a good amount of time, he gave great mercy and then returned to Puri. His character was most amazing. On this pretext, mercy, he went to the Ganga where he was born, and giving bliss to all people's eyes, again went to please the people of Puri. Gaurachandra stayed for some time in Puri and then departed for the bank of the Jamuna, giving pain of separation to the people of Puri. Pained by the separation, Ramananda Roy became very thin and gave up his life heirs. This was the nature of prema in separation. Footnote, he actually gave up his body after Mahaprabhu's disappearance. Staying in Vrindavan for some days, the Lord again returned to Puri and gave unlimited bliss to the people there, as well as experiencing bliss himself. In this way, for 20 years, he observed all the festivals, and then along with his devotees, the ocean of mercy went to his abode. The Lord submerged the universe in an ocean of prema, and then drowned the universe in the insurmountable fire of suffering and separation. What is most astonishing is that the inconceivable ocean of prema became constantly strong. That was the great power of Gaurachandra. Bringing people of various places together as his loyal devotees and making them full of concentrated love, he performed pastimes with them in Bengal and Orissa, and after going to his abode, put the world in an ocean of fire caused by separation. Mahaprabhu manifested his prema for 24 years. He accepted sannyas, left Navadvip and wandered here and there outside of Puri for 3 years, and then spent 20 years observing festivals of Jagannath. In this way, for 47 years, Gauranga performed his various pastimes, playing on the earth, and then he went to his abode. A devotee with the auspicious name of Murari wrote about the activities from his childhood, knowing his pastimes. Consulting this work, this child has written this work. Putting my hands on my head, with humble words I offer respects again and again to Murari, who is endowed with a blissful and tender mind. By his mercy, this work describing the sweet pastimes of Caitanya Chandra has become visible. May all people joyfully hold the magnanimous work of Caitanya Chandra Charitamrita in their eyes and mind. Simply by seeing the work, people can destroy the violent, insurmountable ocean of samsara. I'm not capable of praising, offering respects, or acting politely. Let people do these things by their power. But may the discerning people, having recourse to their mercy, please give me that mercy as they see it. Shivananda Sain, a devotee full of affection for the most merciful Gaurachandra, appeared on earth. His younger son wrote this astonishing work out of great foolishness. May this work, which describes the ocean of good qualities, the greatest Dhirodatta, which constantly manifests by its words, increasing prema, and which describes the pastimes of many great wise devotees, remain eternally glorious on earth. Dhirodatta is the person is inscrutable, modest, tolerant, merciful, determined in vows, who obscures others' pride, is not boastful, and is strong, and is called Dhirodatta. May the wise joyfully wear the enjoyable work which destroys the three miseries, whose very seed is prema, whose very essence is great glorification, whose very seed is prema, whose very essence is great glorification of Gauranga's prema, around their necks all the times, seeing the situation in their own hearts, not seeing me. This work was completed on the second Titi of the waning moon, on Monday, the Ashada month, in the year 1464 Shakabda. So we have to thank His Holiness Bhanu Maharaj. For translating this book and so many others. Okay. Thank you, whoever listens.